So, a slightly different episode this time. I'm still starting with a photo walk from a morning in Busan, South Korea. For those of you who watch my videos, you'll know that 100% of my videos to date are POVs of my street photography when I'm finding time on the weekends or when I'm traveling. This episode is no different, but I'm finally listening to several of you by including my editing process in the second half of this video. Feel free to go straight to the editing chapter if you prefer. In this episode, I use my Ricoh GR IIIx. Due to recency bias from a relatively recent purchase, I used the Nikon ZF for the majority of my trip in Korea, but I was able to take the Ricoh for a walk on one morning in Busan. Yeah, I've got regrets that I didn't use the Ricoh enough while I was out there in Korea. So just touching on my editing setup, I use Lightroom Classic. I've been using it since 2014, back when I was using a Nikon D7000 and before Creative Cloud started leeching us all, but the focus of this video is more on workflow than specific Lightroom tools. So hopefully it provides some insight for those of you using different software. But regarding what I edit with and where, you will often find me leaning back on the couch, MacBook Air, propped up on a cushion, solely using the trackpad while watching YouTube or BBC iPlayer. I spend the entire day at my desk, so incorporating my editing while relaxing is a very sustainable method. This is the reason why I've been very close to buying a second-hand iPad, because I think it would fit well with my workflow. To clarify, I always shoot RAW plus JPEG on all the cameras I own. The JPEG is there as a backup more than anything, or if I want to share images with friends or family. But I use the RAW file to edit in Lightroom, and I apply my simulation of choice in Lightroom. For the Ricoh GR IIIx, the simulations I use most are positive film for color and hard monotone for black and white. Later in this video, I explain how I use virtual copies to experiment with both of these simulations, but you'll also see me religiously use them for presets and to create versions of those presets and iterations of them. And as you can probably tell, there's a running theme that a lot of my tips and a lot of the way I work is to save time, and I think most people can relate with that, because if I don't edit quick enough, then there's no way I can even get started on these videos that I make. So we've imported the photos. As you can see there, very simple folder structure. For every calendar year, I then import it based on the month, and then the location, and then the camera. So in this case, 06 Busan GR IIIx. And then I go straight into probably my favorite part of the process, and that is the cull. To cull, I rate. So by rating them either 5-star or nothing, I then divide them into essentially keepers and non-keepers. Speeding through, I am going through the entire set of photos from that morning, and I'm just hitting 5 where I see there's potential. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to end up keeping it or editing it. It's essentially saying it's got potential, I'll keep it for later. And where I don't hit 5-star, that's essentially, I wouldn't be bothered seeing that image ever again. No need for it, happy to delete. And as you can see there, I go to view, sort by rating, and I select using the shift key all the images that do not have a 5-star, and then I delete them. Lightroom gives the option of either deleting from Lightroom or deleting from disk. I've gotten into the habit of just deleting from disk. Just don't worry about them. They weren't worth your time in that moment, so you don't have to worry about them later. Then I revert back to the default ordering system of capture time, especially if you're doing POV videos like I am. It's really important to make sure that you export chronologically. So the most important edit is the first one because it sets the pace and the style, and I often then use this to create versions of or evolutions of. So all future presets for this batch of photos are variations of that first edit essentially. I always go off a previous preset from another batch. I apply some tweaks, I do obviously a few crops until I get to a stage where, you know what, I'm happy to save this preset in its own group folder, and then I save the first preset and name it something that's very simple to understand. I then look to apply this preset to any number of photos with a similar lighting condition or shot in the same location. Go to the grid view layout, and then essentially using the shift key, select the number of photos you'd like to apply that batch edit to, then select the preset from the toolbar on the right. I then go through these photos, deleting ones I'm not keen on and making tweaks to ones with potential. Tweaks often involve micro adjustments to exposure, contrast, and also straightening the verticals. When I find myself making similar tweaks to multiple photos or consecutive photos, I do a save as of the preset if there's significant enough changes. If they're minor, I will often just update the preset that I was already using by right-clicking it, then updating the settings. So going through them, and one very useful tip, and I hate to patronize anybody, but if you didn't know, but Lightroom's extremely good for non-destructive editing. Instead of committing to something in color or committing to a crop, if there's an image I think might work in 2 or 3 different ways, I always do a right click of that image and then choose create virtual copy. And this tool is really useful because you can essentially test your ideas without any destruction. So half the time I use this tool to experiment with a tight crop, and I think a good example of this is just coming up here, whereby I create a virtual copy in black and white, but then I realize actually I could eliminate that overpass for a more abstracted, stronger image. But I also like the color one, so you know, keeping both is very useful. Regarding time, I spent a total of around half an hour editing these 60 or 70 images, so not much time at all. I must reiterate that it's really important to find a workflow that is quick, doesn't detract from your day too much unless you love editing. But for me, it's really important to have a quick workflow so that you can focus on getting back out on the street to do more street photography, making sure that it doesn't create a backlog of images, and you know, not being too precious about any of your photos. I think that's really important, so you can delete off the hard drive without regret. So I streamline my workflow by being consistent with my edits. I don't take too many risks, as you can see from probably all of my POV videos. I don't really experiment with simulations. I have a look that I like. It's generally on the cooler side, not too high contrast. So when exporting, I simply just head to the library view, select all of the images that have survived the 2 culls, and then I export at a maximum of 5 megabytes with an Adobe RGB color profile, and I then name it in a way that makes sense, which for me is date, location, camera. So that's my editing process, and that's my very short walk on one morning in Busan. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thank you.